Yeah.
Thank you for the reminder to record.
In-
Hmm.
Instead of insisting that I get it perfect the first time. Yeah. It's just a process.
Yeah, it is. It's completely a process, and that's actually, we're always for the end result. And therefore, right?
Mm.
What if what we're experiencing on a day to day in the now moment, this powerful now moment, which is all we have, as we know, the past is just like an illusion. The future is based on the past. Whatever we think will happen in the future is based on us trying to avoid pain from the past. Oh, that was a disaster, so therefore in the future I want more of this. It's all you see, but the power is the moment that we're in. This is the only actual place we can create from, because even the next moment after this call is that's the future, but it's still a now moment. So this idea of self-love and playing with the energetics of love, it holds everything. Love holds all things. I remember hearing Deepak Chopra saying, I love my children, but sometimes my children make me feel like running away. I love my partner, but sometimes I really hate that I'm in this relationship with this person. Like it can hold all the feelings. Just because you have a feeling doesn't mean that it requires an action. Does that make sense? Sometimes it's just holding that feeling and allowing ourselves to say, what's this connected to? How much of this is me having a reaction or a response? Or is this something that I need to continue noticing? It's coming up a lot. Is this something that I can communicate? Is this some, but we don't always have to. I'll give an example. I'm working with someone for a long time and I love her so much and she's a family friend and there's a lot, of rich connection between us, but it's very tricky when someone has been in a pattern of behavior for decades and they're waking up to certain elements of their nature that they had assigned to other people. It's because of the place I live. It's because of the people in my life. It's because of the those that I was raised by. It's a pattern of looking outside to assign the blame. Like something's wrong, who's responsible and how can it stop, right? It is tricky. And a lot of our work together has been of me helping her build the capacity inside herself to be able to sit within all of that she has consciously co-created with everyone in her life, her siblings. I mean, it's everywhere in her life. And building the capacity to just hold space for herself and not run away and not mood alter, not cover up and all these things. It's really a process and we've been working together for about a year and a half. And huge shifts, huge. The vocabulary is different even, but being able to be so much more conscious of what love is, because it used to be for her, love was making sure everyone liked her. She fused love and approval in her young life. So if someone didn't approve of her, she felt unloved. And so to get love, she sought approval. So she fused those two things. So love is a really fascinating energetic. It's fascinating because we often think about love as like either this nurturing maternal love, like it keeps us cozy and safe, or it's romantic love. It's either or. It can't also be boundaries and having the inner strength, even fire, be very spirited and fiery and all of it. It is all of it because it's unconditional, right? So it doesn't go away. So it doesn't have to be transactionalized. Like, if I do this for you, I earn your love. If I do this for you, I earn your respect. I earn your validation. Love is just love. Love is just what it is.
So is if love is just the juice that we have, whether it's romantic or in our relationships with our parents, then it's many different flavors and textures and colors and energies, but it's ours.
Yeah, it is. It
Spicy here, warm and fuzzy there. boundaries, no thank you, or hell no. Okay.
And we associate it with our caregivers very strongly as a matter of survival. We can't survive if someone doesn't feed us. We can't survive. I've been in a lot of different orphanages through the work that I did, intensely in throughout the African continent, and we visited quite some. Wow, there was a child that had been like left literally in a closet, like a broom closet, because there was no more space, and it was dark in there, and that kid, oh my God. Oh, yeah. You can
Yeah.
see what happens when we don't actually have a connection. We've all seen these videos with animals that are just running around the street crazy, and then they're just frightened and scared. They don't even recognize love. And the more abuse there is inside a relationship, when people come to take kids who've been abused, they actually fight harder to stay with their abuser the more abuse there has been. That fusing and attachment. So it takes a while to untangle some of these things if we have complicated narratives around love being transactional, and we don't see it as just a constant source for everyone, not just for us. And it's not like our partner or our friend gets less because we're mad at them or they did something bad we don't agree with. They're not less loved than we are. Everyone's actually loved all the time. What it is we don't allow that love to come into our life. The only time we actually feel uncomfortable or sad or we're just separate from that source. We've just got an illusion going that we're separate from source love. And once we remember, like, oh, I forgot, I don't have to negotiate or be something different or earn a certain amount of money or be younger or fitter or more qualified. I'm just pure love. I'm not actually loved. I am love. I'm love itself. And when we stand in that awareness of like, I'm the love, like you feel like I'm the shit because you are. I'm the love. And you walk into every room, honestly, like you walk with your ancestors, you walk with your lineage, you walk with so much power. You're not looking for anything or anyone. Even when you're going to a meeting with, oh, it would be nice to get this job. Oh, it'd be great to get this funding. I'd love to get this role if you're an actor. I'd love to get my album, whatever it is. I'd love to, but I don't need it. It's not part of my identity and my worth. It would be nice. I'd enjoy that. Or something better. So tuning into this love force allows us to overflow into our jobs, even the toxic ones, especially the toxic ones. And I'll tell you what, I learned something really early, and I want to hear from Substance. I was running a project with this young woman. She really stands out for me. I really learned a lot from her. I was in like my mid 30s. And I was producing something. I really needed everyone to pull in this direction and do all the things. And everyone had the roles and assignment. I had crazy clients and like all the stuff that we all know about. And then there was just this one creative. And she just kind of moved to her own rhythm. And she did do her work. She did get her stuff done, right? But it's like she did it in the way that pleased her. And that drove me bats. It was so triggering, because I was in my control drama. Like I was in my identity and being in charge and managing, and things had to get done and barking orders and like being just completely programmed, right? And this beautiful creative, she was like a hippie girl, and she would just completely come in, and she always did her stuff, always got it done, but she had this contained energy that no matter how crazy, like I could not make her do anything bit more or different than the way she was going to do it. And the truth is, she was more than fulfilling on her job. She was not failing in any kind of area. What it was my ego was attached to. You're supposed to do it like this. We all go like that. She was just moving with the power of her own force. I think she was like 22. I was so annoyed that she had such an incredible sense of peace inside herself. She was not going to be made crazy in this toxic advertising world that I was living in. You know, I'll never forget her. And she was completely right, by the way. 1000%. Substance, what are you thinking?
Yeah, a couple things. This is so cool, always. Um, One, I'm gonna address the short story first. 'Cause I'm practicing storytelling, and it only is coming up because Justin shared about Point Doom, and I'm also on a break from microdosing and everything. I don't even participate in most of these things for a long, long time, and then down here in Tulum just a little bit, but I just Tilo encouraged. So I'm on a break. But this is a story about a journey I had short. But basically, I was on the cliff of Point Doom. I went down to the water, and it's all primordial, and all the rocks are crazy, and you're just like, "What? I'm a dinosaur." But the mushrooms did not kick in, and I'm like, "Okay, it's my birthday. I'm just solo on this adventure. I'm gonna go have a nice meal on PCH." Because I'm not feeling them. They're probably not going to kick in. It's cool. I'm just going to head up these stairs. I went up to the stairs, get to the top of the stairs, and it starts coming in. Well, it wasn't a big dose, but I was like, okay, let's find a spot. And I sit right on the edge of the cliff because I love edges. So I'm sitting on the edge of the cliff. And I had tribal markers, these gorgeous paints, and I'm just like here, I'm just adorning my thighs because I felt like it. And I'm writing this phrase, I am, and then I wrote love. And I was on the E, and I was either gonna add a D or just leave it at E. And right in that moment of just pausing to contemplate that, I'm kind of peeking, and this bright, bright red drop lands right where I'm about to draw on myself. And I'm like, whoa, that's really red. And then my nose starts like pouring blood. It was kind of freaky. But basically, it was just interesting. I just want to tell that story because you had just brought in, you are not loved, you are love. And then it brought in the Point Doom connection. But anyway, I was okay. I navigated that part of the trip.
Love it. That I love the symbolism of the blood even. And that what a
Yeah.
difference one letter
Yeah.
makes in loved, which comes from someone else. Someone else loves me versus I'm love itself. You know, it's like our earlier conversations were like, you're the whole damn ocean, you know, like you're the universe. Like if we literally come from everything and we're connected to everyone, like we are this energetic force that moves through the entire, permeates the entire universe. Like that is us. We're not a portion. We didn't get a slice and we didn't get enough for our cup. We're it itself. And so that's why, you know, like Roshan, she's calling it a new house. Like it's not a house over there. You're the house. You're holding this energy of like home, creation, safety. It's inside you. And everything now that's a resonant match is going to come up. Oh, my friend has this thing coming. Oh, da, da, da. Cool. That great. I'll have that one. Justin's looking for the right kind of romantic partnership. Like he is literally experiencing the like badassness of badassery self that he is, and calling in like anything that's a resonant match to them is a candidate for him. Not him going to look for and hoping to get picked by. He's actually embodying it himself. Substance, your podcast, like, you know, I cannot wait for this thing. Like you and your fire breath dragon self, you know, honestly, you're just calling everything forward, you know? So whenever we're stepping into that we're already it. It's already here. We realize like you can still serve your popcorn at the theater. You can still walk the dogs and pick up the poop, which I did when I was in production. I told you about that story. I mean, I've done all the jobs. I've done all the hustles. I've done all the things along with all the crazy corporate things. We can keep doing all those things. We make the shift. This is a conversation Justin and I had. We make the shift when we realize like, you see this particular job that you're doing that you maybe don't prefer in another version of yourself. You'd prefer this whole other thing to be the entire thing. Great. Guess who's the sponsor? Substance. You're looking for sponsors for your podcast at some point. Your sponsor is wherever you're getting your bread right now. That's the sponsor for the thing that you're creating. You already have a sponsor. You know, if someone's giving you some kind of support, you're already funded. You have your funding for your venture. You see what I'm saying? Like how things are already here. It's that we get attached to the version of it. And therefore, we're not even able to receive what's already here.
Yeah, that's totally hitting it. And I'm gonna drop a song that's called Already Here from my mentor, who I wanna quote in this question to you right here, because we're in this creative container and the topic, it's very related to what we're saying, because the topic is allowing in our space here together, the loved and the unloved. And when he's talking about that, I feel him speaking to the parts of ourselves. So I wanted to ask you, because all of this internalized, based on the conversation we're having, and the external seeking or blaming or whatever else, but then even and how our upbringing or different layers of this experience may have affected our sense of what we love or don't love about ourselves. And maybe the parts of self we reject are the parts we think that cause others not to love us or something. That's the reason I'm experiencing lack or
Mhm.
whatever it is. So I just wondered what you thought of the unloved, and how that then becomes, if anyway, if you feel inspired to answer this, it's just kind of it coming through, like the unloved parts of self, the part that I hate about myself, because this part is why I'm not getting what I want, because this part that won't leave, and then just like having self-hate because of that, whatever that experience is, and how that may hold us back from really noticing everything you just said about what's already here.
Mm. Yeah, I really, that resonates for me a lot because I've been working through a lot of stuff, old stuff with father stuff, and you realize like that is such an old story, Tilo. Oh my God, are you so ready to give that up? It's really amazing how it can just keep hanging around. We do all this work, we're in therapy, we're doing all this development and stuff, and then some old thread, like a little snake, will come and start curling around our ankle. And then you realize like, oh my goodness, that's just an echo. It's just an echo. It's not at all resonant with what I am, who I am, and what I believe now. That's just an echo. That's just like that little girl part of me that wants to just be obstinate, like, like pitching a little fit. And what it is, substance is, it's these split off parts of ourself, right? That we have tucked away because they're not shiny, because also we're living in the world of social media, so we wouldn't want someone to know we're still working on something in that way. That wouldn't be okay, right? It would make us look vulnerable and unsure, and it's not comfortable. So we tuck all these broken off parts of ourselves. Remember love being transactional? Really watch for it in your life, how we trade. So when we grow up with love is conditional, it's transactional. I have to give up something to get something. And then the giving is all about the getting and all of that. It's just a this for that. When we've come through that, then we still have these old little parts of ourself that run away, that get tucked away, the icky, sticky parts of ourself that feel like they don't have something to offer. If I'm sad, then it's not okay, I won't be loved. If I'm mad, if I set boundaries, if I stand for myself, then I can't risk losing my parents' love. I can't risk unsettling this relationship. It's everything. I don't know what I would, whatever that story is we're telling ourselves. It's a friendship, if it's a love relationship, a work agreement. We're terrified that because we have separated ourselves from source, remember? So now we're in this 3D realm of limited supply story. Everything is limited. If something happens to you, you have my share. Now there's less for me. It's all this, old programming. So this idea, substance of feeling like there are parts of us that still need to express, even if it's an echo, if it's an old piece. I have said so many times, like the best way to do it is to catch it when it happens. Notice it. Notice the feeling, notice the memory, notice the echo, rather than like getting busy and starting to do laundry, rather than microdose, rather than, calling someone, texting, getting online. Do nothing. Stand in that moment that's here for you and catch the feeling and literally pull it into your heart, right? And you're going to immediately create this like heart and mind coherence. And you take your other hand, you put it over your belly. So you're literally holding the feeling, holding it inside yourself. And you say to yourself, I'm okay. I'm safe. I'm loved. And you say that 3 times as you are regulating your breath, and you breathe in, say 2 counts, and you breathe out for 4. That immediately starts creating this coherence between your heart and mind, that crazy brain that's calling up these old thoughts, and you're awakening your heart. I'm okay. I'm safe. I'm loved. Now that you are no longer flooded with all of these chemicals, the amygdala is not going crazy and pushing out all these chemicals that flood your ability to even think clearly, but you now are in this clear space and your heart and mind has some balance so you can access the executive frontal cortex, the prefrontal cortex that makes executive decisions. You remember the CEO of your life, Shan. Thank you for that one. Now you're making CEO decisions, not child, old little girl, little sad boy decisions. We're making grown-ass decisions, and we're able to capture the benefit of this executive decision making with the emotional intelligence of our heart. And now you'll just ask yourself, whatever this narrative is, it's like, oh, you shouldn't be doing that. You were never good at that. Whatever these voices are, these narratives, now you can say, is this true though? Is it true? It's either true or not true. It's usually not true at all. There's never an always, I'm always making a mess of it. So whatever that is, that unloved part, substance that comes up, like if people knew this about me, maybe they wouldn't hire my services. Oh, maybe if they were aware that they wouldn't like me, they wouldn't be accepted. That old reptilian brain that is trying, the lizard part of the brain, that's trying to keep us safe and protect us by sounding an alarm, you realize like, wow, when you break this shit down and you understand how your brain works like a computer, you can actually catch yourself out like, oh, that's so funny. I thought I had disabled that program. Let me do it right now. And you just speak to that emotion. And if it's pinned to an event, something that happened, and you start investigating, is this true? Yes, it's true, because remember that time, whatever comes up, you say, ah, okay, I understand why it feels true for you. It's not true now, though. It's not true now. It's not true in my life now. You cannot believe how clear you get and how love helps hold all of that. Even the unloved parts that keep coming back, like with this hammer, feels like it wants to hit us on the head with some old thing. That's from parts from other times. They're just echoes from other people. It's literally, it's a template. And the whole point of us being on the planet is to design our life and to be in touch with who you truly are. And to hear that voice, to find our voice, requires the stillness that you are allowing yourself and inviting yourself into, Shan. It cannot come when we're constantly on the move, chattering, moving our mouth, talking about people, regurgitating sad stories, commiserating with people, being inside toxic relationships that keep repeating patterns. We can't even feel our feelings. So how will we find our voice? And like this young woman who worked on my project, like she had her voice. She knew her voice. I'll never forget her. She's 22 years old, and I'm this toxic 35-year-old, like, we need to get it done, all panicky. She was like, I'm going to show up and do what I'm going to do. That's what I'm going to do. And she was fine if she got fired, which I never fired her because she was amazing. So you see, when you stand in your frame, you hold your frame, your energetic frequency of your frame, not your parents, not your partner, and you step outside of these roles and identity around the roles. I'm a wife, I'm an employee, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a son, a daughter. Those are roles we play, which is part of what we do here. But the true essence of who we are is what we're here to discover, this uniqueness. And the gifts that we can bring to the world come from that knowingness, not our busyness, our knowingness. And that's the offer of unconditional love. And that's the invitation for all of us. We don't wait for a romantic partner, the right job, the new apartment, the next level relationship, the next level us. We're not waiting for anything. We're already it. It's already here for us. And we're opening ourselves up to receive it and allowing it to come in. So this is the game we're playing. It's an energetic game. So allowing and receiving. Because there's no point in attracting everything if we're not even able to see it and receive it. Because maybe it's coming in a slightly different shape or form. We're not even actually receiving what's already here. And we think because these shadowy parts come up, like, oh, I'm not ready. Oh, I was so scared when I was about to do that. Oh, cringe. I'm afraid someone's gonna like, naysay me or call me out. So I'm not ready. Because you see how that thought is attached to something outside ourself. It's based on what someone might think, someone might say, someone might do, something that might go away. But when we tune into this beautiful, eternal us that knows the truth of us, what we deserve, we can call it in and receive it now, like now. And that's accessing the quantum. That's the quantum. That's not this 3D dense reality we're in, because we can't keep observing things we don't want more of and expect to get a new result. We have to observe this new potentiality that we're opening ourselves up to, because we need to wake up from this slumber. We need to wake the fuck up from this literal trance state we have been in. And then when we're fully awake, not woke, because that's all about stupid policies, but when we're fully awakened, yes, there will be some old shadowy things. Shit in your life might fall apart. All the pieces that are not a resonant match for this new thing, all that's going to come to the surface. You suddenly can't stand the things you kind of sort of didn't like before. You now can't stand them. But we're going to sit in it, right? We're not going to run away from it. We're not going to judge it. We're going to sit in it and build the capacity with all the love we have to love ourselves through that and say, it's okay. I'm not going to cover it up. I'm not going to do the microdosing and the overeating and the shopping and the whatever we do. We all do all the things. I'm not going to do all that shit because it's delaying. It's delaying everything. It's like the Band-Aid, like boom, I don't need that. I'm so grown. I'm so ready. And that's the voice that's coming through. Does that make sense?
I'm so grown. I'm so grown.
So grown.
I'm a grown ass woman.
Yes. All of that. Yes. Yeah. It's quite shocking when we realize, like, wow. So I have a question for you guys. Is there a time in our life that we think of, this idea that we decide who we are by the time we're 8 years old and we spend our entire adult life trying to prove it? That thing? Is
Yeah.
there a version of ourself that we're becoming more and more of that you knew crystal clear about yourself, a truth, when you were much younger, that you're starting to feel into now, recall, remember, and wake up to, before you got all covered up with all this other stuff and swept away in all these other paths?
I think physically, physically active and autonomous and happy, like really all of that. Not, as a girl, you should do this and you should be careful and that and the other, but just really physically in charge of all of this. Yeah. And just this happy little girl sitting on the grass. Um, yeah.
And less what? Less not as what? Not as careful, cautious.
Not as careful, not as cautious. I had an older brother, and I still do have an older brother, by the way. And his job was to protect me, right? So he was always telling me, don't do this, you can't do that, da, 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 and telling on me to my parents. Okay. And not that I did anything incredibly extreme, but it was just you had to careful up, right? Instead of just being an 8-year-old tomboy. Yeah. And just being yourself, being a little bit boundaryless, being boundaryless.
Got you.
Yeah.
Where do you feel that right now as you're recalling it? Are you able to recall the actual feeling state that you're talking about?
Oh, no, it's just a little girl. She's 8, she's easy. Um, she's not involved with all the adult drama.
Nice. And what
Certainly,
is your I am statement? If you made like an I am statement, like as that 8-year-old little girl, like what does she say? I am what?
I'm okay. I am okay. Don't involve me in all your drama, whether it's my brother drama or my parent drama, all of that. Just, I'm okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
And is there a
Good luck.
part of her in you now that really knows that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there really is. There's a funny comfort to just being me right now. Um, and I really like it. I'm experiencing enjoying dressing myself, which is a weird thing to say. And it's the me first thing. It's my son's birthday this week, and I'm going to go to Stockholm and see him. But I'm going to make sure I take care of myself and I look fabulous and
Yes.
just I'm just me. I'm
Yes.
just me.
I love
Yeah.
that.
And even if he says stuff like, "Mum, we don't dress like that in Stockholm," and I'll go, "What's the we?" I'll just be me. I'll be my 8-year-old. Yeah.
Yes.
Involved with my mother's drama, my father's drama, their interlocking disputes with
Yep.
me, like underneath going, what?
Yep.
What's that got to do with me? None of it has anything to do with me.
Right.
None of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love that. I love that clarity. And I cannot wait to see. I want you to send snaps of how fabulous you look in Stockholm. It's awesome.
Boots, get boots.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It's so
Mm.
true. Fashion, our clothing, our style, the way we vibe and move and present, right, to the world, it's a huge piece of how we feel inside ourselves, It's awesome. I love that. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. Anyone else feeling into this 8-year-old narrative?
I guess I'll go ahead and share. I feel like there's always been, especially people with ADHD brains like me, there's the alter ego version of themselves that exists in their brain, where it's for guys, it's like the ultimate alpha male type. Oh, everybody wants to be around him. He's so strong, he's so great, everything like that. And I'm not saying I'm there, but I'm much closer than I was a couple of years ago for sure. And I'm really feeling it. And a lot of it comes from this energetical shift and transformation that I've been going through the last couple months, taking my power back and realizing that nothing is going to happen unless I make it happen. And if that's building up my body to be that person, well, nobody's going to force you to go in the gym except you. Nobody's going to force you to stay in there for an hour except you. The only thing that gets you results is you. And ultimately, it just all boils down to, do I make money today? Do I get a step closer to my fitness goals today? Do I get the proper nutrition? And when you're younger, you've got your parents, if you grew up with parents, to help you guide that along the way. But when it's this point in your life, it's all on you. How are you going to make that decision? What's going to drive you to get closer to that? And that's what I resonate from all of this.
It's so true. I love that so much. I saw while you were talking, you kickboxing or boxing or something. I saw like this physicality, this bringing forward this really strong masculine energy right through in a physical capacity. Have you ever done kickboxing or boxing or anything like that?
Well, we have a bag right here in my garage that we routinely put the gloves on and
Okay.
beat.
Okay. Yeah, I was seeing that somehow. I really saw like this fullness, energetically. And you being in touch with that and allowing that, strong energy coming. This idea of boundaries also comes through our physicality, right? Literally being able, like capable, able, and feeling that inside our bones and our body is really powerful. Yeah. And it's true, like the whole feminine energy as well for women, I think allowing ourselves to feel that sensuality, that real physicality of the feminine from a real sense of like ownership, not to get attention, to get that, to manipulate it, just for yourself to feel the power of that energy moving through ourselves, right? And that's the same thing, I think, because I have a son. I've seen by, having a son and a daughter, it's really cool to experience both of these energies because we all have both, right? Particularly though, if you identify as a male, like to feel that maleness in your body. If you identify as a female, to feel the womanhood femininity. Yeah, inside, energetically, ourselves. Not to something, to experience it for ourselves. I think it's super powerful. Yeah, I love that you are disabling a lot of these old narratives and really finding that voice for yourself, Justin, that you're now listening to because it's your voice with your truth.
Yeah, thank you, Tilo. And at this point in my life too, it feels like ever since I turned 18, it's always been, hey, I'm doing something, join me. Or hey, I need some help with something. And hey, come take a job at this company. But never has it really been, what do I want to do? And a lot of it comes from, I don't want to know what I want to do. I felt like my personality and just overall psyche and confidence was a lot weaker for a long time. And I had no choice but to rely on others for everything. And now it's about, well, what do I want to do? And it's about having faith that I'm going to do what I want to do. And I don't care if I have to do it alone, but trusting that if you're with someone to either romantically or just business partner or whatever it is, have the faith that they're not going to leave you. And I feel like some of that stems from trauma as a kid of always being the black sheep and going off on your own. But now it's about letting go of that and releasing it, opening your arms out and trusting that if it's true partnership, it's true romance, true love, then you have nothing to worry about them walking away. Trust that they'll follow. Be the leader.
I hear that. It's really powerful. And what I was seeing there while you were talking was this image of a little boy that was looking for needs that couldn't be met, and the people that were in charge of you can't meet you where they haven't met themselves. So the invitation that we are, I always say that children are the door. It's an invitation for parents to step through. Sometimes they don't, but to meet themselves by walking through that door. And you were that invitation. And sometimes we have to agree to just like go through the door. Like we're kind of like, wait at the door. Is someone coming? Isn't supposed to, we have this strange feeling, like a nagging feeling, like it wasn't someone supposed to come with me. You know, because we were the invitation to those that we came through to do exactly that, to come into their higher sense of themselves, to remember the truth of who they are. Because we're clear when we're younger. We're all clear. Everyone has a clear thought about like, oh, when I was 8, I knew this. It's not like, I don't know, I wasn't. No, 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 no. We got confused, but we weren't confused then. And so it's a matter of you inviting yourself as you are, Justin, to say like, okay, I know why it felt like I was supposed to be doing this with others before, but I'm going ahead now, and others will join me on this path. Those that have met themselves where I'm meeting myself will join me here. And it's like Rumi, one of my favorite Sufi poets, beyond right doing and wrongdoing is a field. I will meet you there. So that's the invitation. It's not about someone being right or wrong, or it's just like I'll be in this field that's beyond right or wrong. That's where I'll be. So I love it. You're just pure love, Justin. Like you're just such I say a love bug, but you're just a love bomb. I'm like, you're just this explosion of love and meeting your own love needs, meeting your own, identity needs. Like, you're just meeting it all. And I just love it so much. So powerful.
Thank you. Substance, you've had your hand up for quite a
Yes,
while.
tell
I
us.
wanted more.
I'm so patient. I'm so good at I love listening, and I also thank you. I also got really good because I think that's part of a challenge when practicing listening for me early on was thinking I'm gonna forget what I was gonna say. I did write it down, so I would help me, but just to say, like, take your time. I love, yeah, we're sharing this beautiful space, and thank you for your share because it's actually stimulating something beyond anything personal related to you or your share, just like words and what impact they've had on me. So I wanted to ask a question actually around the balance of everything you were sharing too, though, and you've brought it up, and it's something in the field a lot in my circles in the last while, but it feels like a law of assumption if we're looking at the universal laws, the already here, right? So when we're speaking about the already here, it's already here, this frequency. And then what Justin just said about action and what we've been doing with the 90-day cycle and the ascension models. It's like, so then the logical or some other part of me like glitches out, like, well, if it's already here, yes, obviously we have to take action in the physical to support, you know, this alignment of these things, these experiences dropping into the physical. But my inquiry is like, what's the balance of the action, not forcing? I found my own version of that, but just curious your thoughts on that. And also the concept of like make it happen. Like I stopped saying that, and because I just it does feel like a forced thing for me to say to myself or to others, like I'm gonna make that happen. So I wonder what your maybe reframe or reflections on this, like forcing, and then the already here, and then the make it happen, these kinds of things.
I I'll jump in and I would love to hear from anyone else who has something to offer substance. This is a juicy topic because it's about calibrating. I think I forgot who it was. Maybe it's Tony Robbins, whoever's done Tony Robbins stuff, but he talks about everything being about 6 or 7 degrees away from where it's supposed to be. And
Hmm.
oftentimes we will give something up when we're so close because we haven't locked in yet and we're not that far apart. We're not even like, you've all seen the illustration, right? Of this is something you want and you see the person coming and then, they're walking along and then, they get up and over and all this stuff and they're literally right there. And then they just like, it's not happening. So I feel like it's about this calibrating, the constant attunement. Yes, playing with energy is so delicious. It's so tasty. We just play with the energy of everything. And when you take that playful approach, instead of I have to make it happen, and we forget, but this is the whole sauce. This is like the whole experience right here. This is like the montage in the movie, we're like, ooh, 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 what's gonna happen? Look at him, he's getting a hard body, he's getting his revenge on it. You're like, whatever it is, it's the height of it. We're in the montage. This is the montage. It's literally like, woo, what are we making happen here? But from a playful place of intentionality, like, oh, I am going to get this body, I'm going to get this bag, I'm going to get this house, this partnership, whatever. But from this place of worth, 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 worth. I am worthy, not I deserve it. That's an entitlement thing. I'm worthy of it just because I want it. Just because I want it. I'm worthy. So I'm already playing with the energy of like, because I want it and I'm worthy, so I'm calling it in, and I'm not waiting. I am getting to the gym. I am working on my business plan. I am hunting down houses. I'm going to go to all the open houses. I'm not telling myself I can't go because I can't afford it. I'm going to call in all of the experience right now. And that, you see how that's different, Substance, than I'm going to make it happen. And you and I've worked on this pacing, like you have an ascension model and you have a timeline. It's like, okay, if I need to adjust the timeline, I will do that, but not because I have been, unwilling to do the things that I am ready to do, but because it actually might take a little bit longer in this particular phase. And that's okay. It's okay, to just calibrate as you go along, adjust according to your energy. How are you feeling? And being honest about that. And I don't know if anyone goes through this, but I can go through an intense growth spurt, and then I can go through like two, never more than two, sometimes three at the most, of days where I feel like, oh, I don't feel any sense of movement. And it feels a little uncomfortable for me. Like, I might revert to an old habit. Like, did I need the 3 bags of popcorn, or, whatever, like snacky or not working out, whatever that old thing was, right? And I could find myself in a few days of experiencing an older version of myself. But that's still growth and progress when we're looking at our life consciously and we're observing that version of ourselves, because that version is dying. That version of ourself is dying. And so it happens over time as we're building. It's like I always say that DJ thing, right? The DJ is playing this amazing song, you're like vibing, it's so cool. And then he starts mixing and you're like, oh no, oh no, oh, that song's ending. I really like it. Ooh, I like this one too. I'm with this one. So we're in that mixing stage, in that blending of these elements. Like we just have to expand to hold it, allow ourselves to have it all, do it all in the way we're doing it, without that harsh judgment, but with practicing rigorous honesty and being able to say, okay, I'm really, dropping some of these things, and I'm noticing, rather than judgment of like, oh, a label, but I'm noticing it doesn't feel so good. Okay, back at it. Boom, moving on. So that's the balance, I think, Substance. Like when you have shit to do and you know that you're ready and you're here for it, but you're finding yourself kind of just playing with a little bit of that old self and the new self, and you're kind of like, it's okay, just notice it and say to yourself, oh, I know what's going on here. I'm still growing into this new version of myself, so I'm still doing some of these other things. Then I'm noticing how that feels and how much I don't really like it anymore. I'm going to start doing it less probably. And that's exactly what happens. Like, because you're noticing you don't really need it anymore. It's an old thing. You're trying it on and you realize I can just let that go. But just loving yourself through the whole thing. There's no, honestly, I'm not here for people's like putting all that deep pressure on themselves and these absolutes, and then all the shame and blame that happens afterwards when we can't maintain that. It's supposed to be fun. We're not digging ditches. So, yeah, that's all the love story that I wanted. I'm so happy for this conversation today. Honestly, this is what I think about when I think about Valentine's Day. This is what I think about when I think about anything having to do with love. It's all of the stuff. And I have to say, it's kind of newer for me to receive it all. Like, how can I make sure someone else feels loved? I want to make sure, and I do, I really love to love others, and that's true. But I'm coming from my overflow. That's the difference.
Oh, oh,
Yeah. It's different, right? Rather than like, oh, I have a little bit in my cup, let me give it away. Like,
love coming from my overflow.
yeah. And allowing myself to have the fullness of what's here for me. And when it feels aligned or I feel inspired, yes, I can flow that somewhere else. But it's not like I'm uncomfortable having the whole thing, so let me give it all away. So I'm back at zero because that's my comfortable set, because I know I can create more in that whole loop. Yeah.
Question, thank you for that. Like right off the tail end of that, a question's coming up about money with that. Just because when you said, just if you want to go there, we don't have to, but just when the whole set point of zero, like if I'm used to zero being empty and giving from
Yes.
then a full cup, like how is that related to money? Maybe, I don't know, I'm just
Okay.
curious.
Everything. Everything. Have cash money lying around your house, first of all. It doesn't matter what the denominations are. Just have cash somewhere in your house so you can just see cash sitting there. And then create some kind of visible savings. I don't care literally if it's 50 cents a day or $1 a week. It's something that is just accumulating without being given away, that you're comfortable holding things, not just earning them because we're so good at that. You see, we're a lot better at manifesting than we give ourselves credit for. What you might want to do is start to think about this idea of holding this good, holding this money, and also playing around with this energetics of like, money loves to hang around me. Money is my friend. Money loves to hang around with me, you know? And what you'll say is rather than like, oh, how can I afford, oh, I can't afford it. Oh, how can I afford that? According to my creativity, I want to go on a retreat. I can't afford it. No, I want to go on a retreat. Ooh, how can I create the money according to my creativity? So you see, it's not according to how much time do I have left to earn my $4 an hour. You see, not that. According to your creativity, because your creativity can create any amount of money in a short or small amount of time. I'm more than anything, money is a game of energetics entirely. It's a game of allowing and receiving. Like, it's so funny because we have been indoctrinated into like money is just made up. It's just a concept, right? It's like, the equivalent of what? It's secured by what? Gold. What is gold? It's a substance that we also applied, perceived value to. It's a made up concept. And before that, we were what? Trading in like feathers and stones and shells. It's like whatever we've put our time and attention to say has value. So you have to see it that way. It's literally a game of energy. And because we've associated worth with money, and I recognize we need to have a roof over our head, we need to have food. Yes, I'm actually exactly talking about that. I'm literally talking about that when it comes to mindsets. So when you stop telling yourself that you are your bank account, that you'll be better when you have more than all that, and you start to just see everything as energy, right? It's all about the flow of everything, and that we are not assigning ourselves worth based on anything outside ourselves, nothing. Our worth is not equal to anything outside ourselves. The end. Then you're like, oh, that's a relief. So I don't have to go get something to prove anything. Nope. I'm already loved. Yes. I'm already worthy. Yes. Okay. What would I like? Ooh, I'd like to experience fluid cash, just being able to make instant decisions that are based on what I'd enjoy. Great. Play with that energy. Do you see what I mean? Once you've untangled yourself from, I'm only worth this if I have that, that game is over. Now you're free to just literally allow the flow of, abundance, things to come in, come in, come in. It's not according to your labor. I'll be able to get that car when I've worked for 2 years and I had that much saved. Like, no, according to your creativity. You might have a fucking brilliant idea that'll just crack open and suddenly someone wants to give you this cash. Suddenly something happens. You're like, boom. Yeah. So
That's my emoji hieroglyphics.
is that helpful? Yeah. So
Thank you, thank you.
yeah, so I know we're gonna wrap out here, so everyone get on with their day. But I'm just so grateful for this conversation because it's just a reminder that we are unlimited. Resources and supply is unlimited. There's actually not a shortage of money in the world for anyone at all. Literally everyone on the planet can have more than enough. That's the truth of it. And there are just way too many, pendulums that we get stuck inside, right? This tick, 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 you get stuck in a pendulum and you can't get out of it. It's literally a mindset that we are just freeing ourselves from when we realize we're unlimited. We're already worthy. Everything we want is already here. And we start to open up to those energetics and you realize, okay, I just need to keep refining my sense of like worth, like, wow. And you play with that energy of worthiness and worth. Now you're not really willing to live in circumstances or be inside relationships or, spend time on things that just doesn't feel like it's worthy of your time and attention. Yeah. And then everything that's already here, because now you've locked into like this quantum field of like, I'm ready for more now. Boom. Everything that was limiting you is coming up for you to look at and go, nope, let that one go. Yep, that needs to fall apart. Do you know what I mean? Why is this stuff happening right when I'm growing? Because you're growing, because you're calling in more, because you're expanding and there's no room for that other shit. It's getting pushed out. Things are spinning out of your life because you're here for more. That's why it's happening. Because you gave the command, I'm ready for more. Here's to all of us having more and more and more and more joy, more love, more health, more exciting projects, more adventure, more play, more pleasure, substance, more CEO badassery. Yes, more. I love you guys. We have one more call in 2 weeks. I think it's March 2nd. And I really want to invite everyone to book one-on-ones with me. If you go to my telomai.com, on the upper right corner, it's like a book a free call with me, whatever, that's my Calendly. Just book a call there. It'll book for 30 minutes automatically. We can go longer, but I would really love that. I think it'd be so lovely to do that as part of our kind of like full closure thing over the next couple weeks, whenever it's convenient. And then I'm here for everything, that you've already started to create the momentum, the awareness, and everything. I mean, we're in each other's lives now, so this is what it is. So thank you all so much.
Thank you, Tila.
Thank you.
You
Thank you,
guys
Walter.
have a beautiful day.